What's good, everybody? The Washington Wizards finally snapped their 9-game losing streak in Motown, defeating the Detroit Pistons 126-107. So we're going to look at the starters, the bench, how did we win this game, and then we're going to look at a preview for the next 2 games in Orlando. Rock with your boys next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Brandon Scott again with my guy, the real Ed Oliver. We are the best backcourt in the DMV, so definitely rock with us. And we appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 in your pocket if your team wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. So the Washington Wizards snap a 9-game losing streak, defeating the Detroit Pistons in Motown 126-107. So we're going to look at jumbling there. We're going to look at the performances from the starting unit and the bench, and we're going to look at certain factors that won the game, looking at the free throw line to be exact, and then we're going to do comments at the end. So let's dig right into it. Big win tonight. Both teams were 2-14, so somebody had to win this game. But if you look at, obviously rebounding tends to be an issue every game. Offensive rebounding, they're obviously still an issue, but good team victory. So if you had to look at one thing that kind of won this game for the Wizards, what are you looking at?
Just getting to the free throw line and pushing the pace, getting to the basket. Ball movement was huge, but them getting to the basket, not settling, getting to the free throw line. Deni was huge. He had an and one. He had a dunk where he took it coast to coast. I see a lot of Deni supporters in the chat are super excited already, so we're going to get the comments later for sure. But I love the aggressiveness from Deni. 16 points tonight. Had that dunk on a fast break. Had an and one. Got to the basket at will. Also, Kuzma, man, just moving the ball, man. He, of course, point Kuz. It can be a little up and down at times. But 8 assists, 12 boards, 32 points. He really took over in that third quarter. The third quarter was the difference there. We started off slow. Both teams started off slow, but 37-29 that third quarter. I thought Kuz took over, and Deni had a good start in that third quarter as well. So those two, they really took over and dominated in that third quarter. Just getting downhill, not settling, getting to the basket. And the Pistons, they're just a bad defensive team. We talked about it last night. They're a bad defensive team. They give up a lot of free throws. They have a long way to go. They're in year 3 of their rebuild, and it still looks like they're 3 years away from being 3 years away, honestly. But, of course, we did give up some boards to Duren and James Wiseman, but we were able to weather the storm. And this was a blowout, man. We were controlling the game. It looked like, it was the opposite way where the Pistons were waving the white flag. They kept their starters in, but it really was – we were in control of the game the whole time. Gafford, I thought he tried. They called an offensive foul on Jalen Duren. Gafford came back, had a put-back dunk. So even though, Duren was getting the best of him sometimes on the boards, I thought Gafford hung in there tough and battled for sure. So ball movement was the tail of the tape, just getting to the free throw line, not settling, not turning the ball over. We did have about 16 turnovers tonight. Let me make sure on that. We had 16 turnovers, so we still turn over the ball a good amount of times, but we cut that down from the Hawks game where we were throwing cross-court passes. I thought Bilal got out there, was disruptive defensively. He had a steal, went down and had a dunk as well. So we had a couple good defensive stops and some good plays. The guys off the bench played well too. And Gallo came in, hit a couple threes. We'll talk about the bench later, but the bench was huge tonight. But the guys like Kuz, Deni certainly stepped up, and the bench followed after that. So I gotta give this team credit. Well, it's a bad team in the Pistons. We're both bad teams, but they did what they were supposed to do. They went on the road. They are the better team. We beat the Pistons 9 times in a row now. I want to say 16 times at home in a row as well. So we just really, really have the Pistons number. But Kuz took over in that third quarter. Deni took over in that third quarter.
Absolutely. I agree on all points, man. Definitely the free throw line is where we definitely won the game. 26 out of 28 attempts, So we definitely got to the line and got those free points, man. That was pivotal. But I mean, you nailed it, man. The ball movement was a lot fluid against the team because I mean, Detroit is just so bad at defense. I mean, if we found a team that's worse than we are on defense, I mean, this team is abysmal on the defensive end. So yeah, Kyle Kuzma. This is obviously a home game for him. He's from Flint, Michigan, and he showed out, man. 32 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, almost got a triple dub. Shot 10 for 23 from the field, 2 for 7 from the field, or 3 rather. But he shot 10 for 11 from the free throw line. So that was key for this team. The starting unit was decent. Tyus Jones was, around what we expect, 12 points, but the 4 assists. I definitely want to see more assists from Tyus. Jordan Poole did have kind of an off shooting night. 10 points, 3 for 9 for the field, 0 for 2 from 3. Had another Shaq in the Fool moment. It seems he usually has 1 per game. So, we already know what to expect from JP, man. But Deni again shows that from the offensive side of the ball, man, he has evolved. You see a more aggressive, a more efficient guy in Deni Avdija this year as far as his offensive game. 16 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 for 9 from the field. So again, Deni continues to impress on the offensive end because we know what he can do on the defensive end. So Gaff, yeah, it was a typical Gaff game, and I'm gonna give him where credit is due. Gaff, I thought he had a pretty good game. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, 2 steals. So defensively, Gaff was doing his thing. He was definitely getting those swats. And we're going to talk about the bench and Bilal because Bilal got a nice little block on Wiseman in the first half. But yeah, I mean, the starting unit, Kyle Kuzma, we know what he can do, man. He's a volume scorer. He's that guy as far as scoring. So I love what I see from him this year. He's had his share of bad games, these low efficiency games, but overall, Kuz and his trade value is definitely boosting up, man, because you got to look at, a contending team who needs a scoring spark off the bench, or if they're dealing with an injury, they're going to need a guy like Kuz. So I definitely think that he's definitely boosting his trade value. But yeah, this game, if I'm looking at one factor, this game was definitely won at the free throw line. And we talked about it for the preview. We said, look, this team is abysmal at allowing the other team to go to the charity strike. And what do? They attack. And so I hats off. Now I get it. It's the Detroit Pistons, but we'll take the dub, man. I think this was a really good team victory. And overall, yeah, you had a few Shaq to the Fool moments, but overall, this team, they responded. They knew that this was a must-win game because, man, oh man, I tell you, you come out of Motown with an L, and man, Wizards Twitter is going to explode. So this definitely was a must-win game, man. And like you said, they came out and did what they were supposed to do. You want to see this type of performance, especially against teams like the Detroit Pistons. So looking at the first unit, I think overall they did well. Jordan Poole, off night. I mean, I don't really want to get into the whole, maturity and stuff like this, but he's gotta focus, man. And he's got to focus on a consistent basis. You can't have one focused game and the next game, you're back to doing, ill-advised stuff, man. But I think he will bounce back. But we're gonna slide into the bench unit. And how did the bench unit do? How did these young guys do? And did some of these aspiring veteran guys boost your trade value? But before we get on the bench, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. As the weather gets colder, the NFL offers stay hot on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 money line bet. That's $150 if your team wins. If you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on action than right now. The app is so easy to use. There's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over and unders, parlays, and a lot more. So just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, the official partner of the National Football League. And Locked On has launched its first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. So let's slide into the second unit. I guess looking at the second unit, what young guy improved, kind of impressed you tonight, and what veteran player on an expiring deal boosted his trade value tonight?
Good question. Yeah, I do want to chime on the Jordan Poole shot or him getting the shot swatted into the third or fourth row of the Palace. His shot got blocked into where Ron Artest was fighting in the Malice in the Palace back in the day. That's how far the shot got swatted. But no, I'm just messing with Jordan Poole. But yeah, it was a bad decision by him. He already had a wide open shot. Why pump fake and why go into it even more? And Osar Thompson was just jumping to the moon in that game. I mean, in the game, he is so athletic. Osar, I mean, he's a darn good player. It was fun to watch him as an opponent because he is so athletic. He's going to be really, really good for the Pistons. That's one of the few bright spots on that team. But that's the only thing with Jordan Poole. That was his shining full moment. Other than that, he didn't shoot the ball well, but I thought he had some good moments. In the first quarter, he ended up with 10 points, didn't really do much in the second half at all, but he just has that one moment where he's just making a bad decision. So, but I'll move on from that. I won't talk about the bad too much because they did win, but the Pistons are who we thought they were. We didn't let them off the hook. Won the game. I like the block you brought up from Bilal on James Wiseman. Your guy, James Wiseman, finally got some playing time for the Pistons. He got blocked by Bilal, so that was a huge block by Bilal. But looking at the bench, man, yeah, talking about trade value, Landry Shamet, he stays consistent. He's a consistent guy. He could certainly come off the bench and help out a playoff team just as a shooter. He came in tonight and he hit 2 threes, had 12 points. He looks athletic into the rim. He really is. I didn't know he was that athletic. He gets to the rim really, really. He really gets to the basket and he really leaps and gets up. So he surprises me every night. The dunk he had against Giannis. And Gallinari, 16 points, 3 threes off the bench, had 2 threes in a quarter. He provided a spark as well. So I like what I saw from him. Who else? Corey Kispert had his moments. He got to the basket. He only shot 1 3, but he did other things tonight. So I like that he was getting to the rim, getting to the basket, cutting, moving out without the ball. So he did those things. He had 4 fouls though. So he was in foul trouble. But and then Bilal, he was solid off the bench, 5 points, 4 rebounds. But he was able to get, be pesky on defense. And I saw him guarding Cade a couple of times as well. He ended up with 2 steals and 1 block. So he was impactful. He was a plus 19. Corey was a plus 13. Shamet was a plus 8. Gallo was a plus 9. Kuz was a plus 18. Deni a plus 1. Gafford plus 10. Jordan Poole plus 10 as well. Then Eugene came in. He was super aggressive, 3 points. He came in with, basically garbage time. And Johnny Davis, he had a sneaky layup too. He had a nice layup finish. He finished with 2 points. And got 7 minutes, but he finished pretty well. He got some minutes when the game was actually a game, and then he got pulled out pretty quickly. But I thought he had, for the minute that he was in there, I thought he did something. I thought he played well. But as far as trade value goes, once again, we're not going to get much for these guys. But Shamet, if he keeps playing like this, I think we should definitely get a second round pick. Gallo, instead of a buyout, I think we'll definitely get something for Gallo as well. Tyus Jones was a little iffy tonight. Didn't have his best night, but I still think teams are going to be looking for his services as well.
Yeah, I agree on all points, man. Looking at the young guys, Bilal on the defensive end is a dog, man. That block on James Wiseman, man. Yeah, yes, sir. I mean, he could definitely play some defense, man. So Bilal, as far as the defensive end tonight, played really well. Now, I mean, obviously, his offensive game is still maturing. 5 points, 4 rebounds, but Kispert again, 1 3, but I felt like he drove the lane, he cut, you did his other things on his basketball IQ show. So it was a decent showing from Kispert on the offensive end. But looking at a couple of these vets, man, Shamet, 12 points. He continues to boost his trade value more and more every game. His hops, in fact, his quick trigger with his 3-point shooting. We're definitely going to be able to get it, at least a second round pick. I agree with that. And Gallo, man, he still rolls around like a mummy, man, but he's got a quick trigger, man. You see the score, he still is able to put, still score at a high volume off the bench, man. So I definitely think those two, we're going to be able to get some value back for those two guys. And I agree on Tyus Jones, man. I think that out of all the veteran guys, he has the most value because you're not really looking at him to score 15, 20 points. I'm looking around 10 to 12. But to me, I'm looking for more assists, maybe around 7 or 8. Definitely utilize the shooters more. But, looking at these veteran expiring deals, I think that they're doing a great job boosting their value for us, man. They really are. Because I was with you, man. I thought that Gallinari at one point was a buyout candidate. But, he shows that he can definitely score. Now, he's not going to win many races, but he definitely can still score, and he's going to be a value asset off the bench for a contender going down to the playoffs. So yeah, looking at the second unit, man, this was a good team showing. Now again, Johnny Davis 7 minutes, 2 points, nice layup, but you continue to see his minutes dwindle, and it still surprises me why he's not getting any kind of minutes, especially with DeLon out. So we'll see. We'll see what the long-term vision is for this front office for Johnny Davis. I don't, because I don't know if it's a situation where Wes Unseld has complete control over his rotations, or I think the question is, at what point do you get where the front office says, look, we need you to give him more minutes, because if we're not going to retain him, we have to at least get 15 minutes a night, try to get some kind of trade value out of him. And then, if he's not going to be here, man, then try to move him. But, 7 minutes just ain't going to cut it right now. But, yeah, this is a good victory. Like I said, yes, against the Detroit Pistons, but this was a good victory. We needed this victory, especially going into Orlando, which, by the way, is second in the East. So, I mean, we definitely got our work cut out for us going forward, man. But, look, we got momentum. So, we'll see. I don't want to sit here and say we better go on a roll, man, because I think we all know where we're at. This team is definitely looking to be a top 5 pick, man. And, but we always say culture, right? This is the type of culture, playing hard, playing as a team, playing together. This is what you want to see. So now it's a good victory in Motown, man.
Yeah, I'll take it. I think this is a good victory for the development of Bilal, Deni getting his confidence up as well, Kuzma getting his trade value up, just guys getting their trade value up, evaluating, for other teams.
Yeah.
Looking for their services, for playoff pushes. I think this was a good all-around win for the guys. Yes, trying to get the best draft position they can get, but that doesn't mean you have to go 0-82. You can still win a couple games just for development. And just for Wes, too, you talked about the matchup between Wes and Monty Williams. Looked like Wes got the better of Monty Williams. Yes, we just have the better team at this point. But it was good to see that they didn't have a third quarter collapse. They didn't have a Wes Unseld Jr. masterclass of being up by 15 to 20 points and losing the game. They actually kept the lead. So it was good to see that they're actually capable of doing that, because too many times we've seen them just blow leads. So, and once again, yes, I get it was the Pistons, but the Pistons, you just never know. Cade Cunningham's very talented. Jalen Duren's very talented. He ended up with a double-double. Jaden Ivey is talented too. They have some talented young places, but their team they're years away from being years away. They don't have any strong, good veterans, to be honest with you. Oh, and then somebody pointed out Deni got into a little altercation with Osar Thompson. Gallinari had to hold him back. I did see that. I saw a little bit of that. And then Deni didn't really get back in the game after that, so I don't know what was going on with that situation. Not like Deni really needed to get back in it because it was a blowout, but it's just something to keep an eye on. But I like the intensity and I like the fire from Deni, not taking any mess. I like that physicality. We talk about it all the time. Just showing some toughness. So I love that from Deni. Deni showed a lot of toughness tonight too. I just want to see him do it consistently against good teams. I want to see him do that against, and he has. I want to see him do that consistently against playoff teams. And Wednesday will be a good opportunity for that with the Orlando Magic, who right now would be in the playoffs if the season ended today. But we're going to get into some comments here. But before we do that, today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. My picks tonight, I did have Tyus Jones getting over 19.5 rebounds and points, rebounds, and assists, but he did not hit that. He actually tied it and pushed and got that. But other picks I had Cade Cunningham getting over 24.5 points. He hit that. Kyle Kuzma over 22.5 points. He did smash that with 32 points tonight. So a couple of my picks did hit on PrizePicks. But what is PrizePicks? PrizePicks is the largest daily fantasy sports platform in North America. It is the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. Instead of batting thousands of other players, including pros and sharks, you pick more than or less than or on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. With basketball season here, you can now pick combo projections across football and basketball from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes 2 or more players from different sports or leagues. For example, LeBron James plus Travis Kelce at a 10.5 combo of 3-pointers made plus receptions. Want to play alongside some of PrizePicks' favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schulz? You can now find community plays under the promos tab of the app to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. All right, let's get into some of these comments here. Jason says, finally, it started ugly, but thankfully we won. We still have that 14% chance for the first pick, so I'm not mad at the win.
No, this is not going to change anything as far as the pick. No, this was a good win, man, but we're definitely still in line for that number one, man. So I wouldn't be scared on that. But yeah, I mean, it started ugly, but it was a must win, in my opinion, especially going into Orlando the next two.
Yeah, we're still going to be one of those. It's really just between us and them. Yeah. As far as being the worst teams in the league. I'm looking at the records right now, but I'm pretty sure it's just not even close. Trying to think who else is in the ballpark as being as bad as us. Oh, the Memphis Grizzlies without Ja, they're pretty darn bad. 3-13. Chicago
Spurs.
Bulls. Yeah, the Spurs, they're pretty darn bad. They're 3-14. Bulls are 5-13. Portland's 5-12. They're gonna be bad. Utah's 5-11. Charlotte's 5-10. Charlotte's probably gonna win more games. Because Miles Bridges is back. And Utah, they're going to find ways to win games. Last year, they won about 35, 37 games, so they're not going to be in the hunt. So it's really just going to be between us, Detroit, the Spurs, and Memphis, and maybe Chicago. They might bottom out because I know they're going to trade a bunch of their guys pretty soon.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have some company as far as the worst team in the league, but I think we definitely have a good chance between us, Detroit, and San Antonio. I think San Antonio's not going to be very good. Chicago, yeah, they need to blow it up. They need to stop pretending like they're going to do something. Let's see. Go ahead.
Yeah. Israeli fandom. He says, I told you guys Deni was the next Luka, and he says he was right. Drew Gooden compared him to LeBron today. I'm not the only one who sees it.
I mean, look, I'm proud of Deni, man. Look, I mean, I like how he's progressed offensively. But, man, if you try and compare him to LeBron, man, you need to get drug tested, man. Like, he ain't there yet, man. He ain't there, man. But I would say this, man. I'm very, very, very impressed with how far he's evolved offensively. Like, he's a weapon now offensively, where there was times the last 3 years where he was, people let him shoot. Now people are starting to pay attention to his shots. So it's good to see Deni step up offensively because we know what he can do defensively. But, see, this is where it gets dangerous, man. Don't put too much pressure on the young man. When you start comparing him to people and comparing him to Luke and all that, man, just let the young man play. Right now he's playing well. So just let him be Deni instead of trying to compare him to somebody. Let him be Deni Avdija.
Right. Yeah, 100%. I know Israeli fandom is super, super happy. I know this made his day. This made his night for sure. So I'm happy for Israeli fandom, and I like the way that Deni played. I love that coast to coast and just dunking the ball. That's what I want to see him do. He's capable of doing it. So just, be aggressive, get to the basket. He's not thinking too much. I have been pleased with what he's done this year. I know the numbers don't jump out or wow you. It's not like he's averaging 15 to 20 points a game.
Yeah.
But he's been consistent for the most part. He had one bad game that was over the weekend. It wasn't against the Hawks. It was against the team that we played before. Where he had a stinker. It was the Bucks game where he struggled that game, and it looks like he's bounced back from that game. And like I said, I love that he didn't take any stuff from Oscar Thompson. So I love what he did tonight. As far as comparing him to Luka, it's not really fair to Deni, but I get it. Israeli fandom is super, super excited, so I'm not going to rain on his parade, and I'm happy for Deni. I don't want people to come on here and say that I didn't congratulate Deni for having a good game or that Lord. Deni got his contract, that he got paid. So. I would just keep it at that. I would just, enjoy the game for Deni. I really am.
Hey man, I'm super excited that you got the contract though, bro. Like, like real talk. But no, I mean, real talk, man. It's good to see him take that step finally offensively. I really love what I see from him. But I'll say this about him getting into Oscar Thompson, man. I want to see that. I want to see him have that dog, man, because when Jordan Poole got, I'm trying to remember the player that pushed Poole, but when the team didn't really back him up, I had a problem with that. I want to see that dog. I want to see them fight. I want to see them aggressive. I want to see them in the people's face. I want to see them come together. When I see Deni, talk stuff, absolutely back him up because, I want to see that fire because we know we're going to be trash, but at least be competitive, show some fire, man. So, I love seeing that come out of Deni, man. I want to see, a lot more of that. And when you see Jordan Poole kind of get caught up, man, support him. Back him up because, You know, that kind of disappointed me with his team, man, when they didn't back up Jordan Poole. So
Right, yeah. You gotta protect your teammate. Somebody pushes your teammate, you gotta back them up for sure. So I like the aggression from Deni for sure. DMV for life says Jordan Poole was awful and had another highlight that has everyone laughing at us. What does he be thinking? I think Kevin Colbert said the same thing. Guess who wasn't in the lineup towards the end of the game? Surprise, surprise. I think he's talking about Jordan Poole as well. Denny was not in the lineup either. I'm trying to think who was in it. I know Gafford was in the closing lineup. Tyus Jones, Kuzma was because he was super, super hot. Bilal was in there at the end because he got the steal in the dunk. I want to say Landry Shamet was in there as well. Shamet's been getting some good minutes, some good playing time. Well-deserved. He's playing well, especially getting the trade value up. I think he's the guy that stepped up with DeLon not being there. He's the guy that's kind of gotten more minutes and has been able to step up and be more consistent there. So I've been pleased with what he's done. But yeah, as far as Jordan Poole, yeah, he's just got to get the Shaqtin' a fool out of his system. It's just like every other game. Now, I like the video where he was locked in and paying attention. So I was like, okay, yeah, things are going well. We haven't talked about Kevin Garnett yet. What he said about Jordan Poole. I don't know if we can dedicate that to. We can just have a whole episode because KG really just switched up. At one moment, he was like, Jordan Poole is going to be the next James Harden. And now it's 10 games in, and he's like, he's disrespectful to the NBA. Like, he doesn't belong.
Shouldn't be in the league.
He's a disgrace to the game of basketball. He's a disgrace to James Naismith and everybody who ever created the game of basketball.
Yeah, we definitely gonna chop that up, man. We're gonna talk about that one because that's a heck of a reversal, man. 10 games, But here's my thing with Jordan Poole, man. I mean, we know he's got the talent. We saw that in Golden State. I think with him is just, and it may take longer than we expected but it's eventually it's gonna hit him. You're in Washington now, like you can't get away with that type of stuff anymore, man. I mean, you see that type of shenanigans from guys, man. Because look, Steph can do that. He can shoot a shot and turn around because this guy's probably one of the best 3-point shooters ever played the game. Like, he's got to find out what his role is, who is he going to be as a player in DC and do some maturing, man. But he's got all the potential in the world, man, because look, a lot of people, including myself, said that, look, maybe he could be that guy, going forward, man. So he's definitely got to mature, but I think he's got too much talent to be. He's not going to be a bust. He's got to mature, man, and he's got to figure out who he's going to be in DC. But I think going forward, he's going to be all right. But for right now, yeah, it's hard to watch, Lord. It's hard to watch. You get mad at the TV, but I think eventually he's going to be all right, man. He's going to figure it out because it hasn't hit him yet, man. This ain't San Francisco no more, man. So,
right, definitely. Let's see here. A couple of comments here about Johnny Davis. I feel like we have this conversation every night. So I'm just read a couple of comments here about Johnny. There's like 5 or 6 in a row about Johnny Davis here. It says, Desan, I was just reading rapid fire. Desan, and we just react and we'll probably wrap it up after this. Desan says, Johnny isn't their draft pick. They probably don't see much potential with him. I do agree with that statement. I don't think they really have or invested in him. You see the way that they make sure Bilal gets minutes, and Bilal has earned his minutes, but you see the way that they're treating Bilal, getting his minutes. You clearly see the difference between the two. The truth says Johnny isn't good. That's why he doesn't get much minutes. Israeli fandom says Davis is a bust. I disagree with that. It's too early for me. And then Shugs BZ says, tell Johnny Metro. Yeah, you guys are just getting out of hand. The comment from Shugs BZ. DMV for life says Johnny's shot is broken. He doesn't provide much offensively. I think that's why he doesn't play. Sadly, he's just not good enough. The shot is broken. I do agree with that.
Yeah.
And Daniel says trade Davis to Maccabi Tel Aviv. And Bliss Nation says Johnny Davis is an NBA player. Muhammad Worthington says Johnny is a good player. You don't see potential with him like you do with Blau. Ben says the coaching staff ruined JD's spot for no reason. Coming out of college by changing it, JD will be fine. He goes back to his natural shooting motion. So yeah, this is the last thing I'll say about Johnny. I agree with the statement about the coaching. I mean, the GM Will Dawkins, Schlenk, and Michael Winger. They clearly don't have a plan for him. So we'll see what happens in February. Is he attached in a deal where they ship off Shamet or DeLon Wright or Tyus or Gallo?
Yeah,
that's what I think will happen. I think that's going to happen pretty soon and before February the trade deadline. That's just my guess. I don't have any inside sources or anything like that. And I think that would be best for Johnny as well. As far as him being an NBA player, it just depends on the team and the fit. I think if he could go somewhere, I mean, I think his comparison is Josh Hart. If he can stick to a team and just become like a defensive, not anchor or stopper, but just a guy that can come in, play good defense, get some steals, deflections, knock down an occasional three, be athletic. You look at Josh Hart, Bruce Brown has carved out a good career for himself. He does not like he has an offensive bag or anything like that, but he can shoot the three. He's athletic.
Yeah.
So you look at some guys like that, and maybe Johnny can model his game after some guys like that. They're just athletic. They play hard, play with their hair on fire, come off the bench, play hard, and maybe he can carve out like a possibly a 10-year career. I think that's best case scenario for Johnny Davis at this point. But yeah, this team, I don't see him getting playing time. It's going to take some time for him to develop his offensive game. Definitely has some work, and it is unfortunate to see his shot be broken down like that. Because you look at some of his shots at Wisconsin, and he looks like he has a hitch, and he's a hitch right now. His shot is kind of, it is broken right now, where he's like putting his elbow out, dropping his knees are inward. So it's unfortunate to see.
Oh, it's hard to watch. I mean, I don't understand why they tinkered with the shot, because I mean, at Wisconsin, by no means was he a sniper, but the shot was a lot more fluid. It looked like a regular shot. The little leg thing they got going on, I don't know why they, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But obviously, look, with a guy who you drafted that high in his second year is getting no minutes, look, he's not part of the future. Let's be real. I mean, we all know that right now is the best time, especially with DeLon being out, for him to get minutes. And the fact that he's not getting minutes tells you that, look, they don't have much confidence in him. He's not part of the future. So I'm with you, E. When it comes to whether it's in, December, January, or at the deadline, man, I definitely believe he's going to be part of any deal going forward, man, as a salary filler, because obviously the emphasis is on Bilal. And, obviously they gave the bag to Deni. And, really, in my opinion, there's still questions surrounding what the long-term fit is for Kispert. If he's part of the vision going forward. But I don't think Johnny is, man. I think that he's definitely going to be traded out of here, man. And like you said, I hope he gets traded to a team where they could develop him and see if he can flourish as an NBA player. Because his defense and his rebounding, I definitely think he can contribute in the NBA. He's just got to figure out what he can do offensively, and what really is the ceiling for Johnny Davis offensively. So a lot of questions, but yeah, in my opinion, man, he's done here in DC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so too. I think it would be best for both parties. It would be best for Johnny to get a new scenery, and I do see him. I think he can be successful somewhere else. I don't think he'll be, have I think a change of scenery would be best for Johnny at this point. I think so. See if there's any more comments, but if not, we'll definitely see a couple of you guys are going back and forth in the chat here, so we'll probably wrap it up. Sort of space says Shaq in the pool. But we'll probably wrap it up. Yeah, no, right. We'll wrap it up on a good note. Kuz had a good game. Deni had a good game. Shamet had a good game. Gallo had a good game. Gafford, showed some flashes here and there. And it was a good win. Eugene looked good off the bench too for the little bit of minutes he got. He only played 2 minutes, but he looked good in those 2 minutes. So it was a good all-around win. Just want to thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell as well. We will be recapping the Magic game on a Wednesday night. Should be a good game. And don't forget, Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. Hell to the Wizards. The Wizards finally got a dub.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Dub
sir.
in Motown.
Hell to the Wizards. Peace.